May 30th, 2014. Nearly an entire decade ago, Mario Kart 8 was released. November 9th, 2023, the final wave of DLC released for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. This is it. This is the finish line for Mario Kart 8.
You are now watching The Beach.
The Mario Kart 8 journey has been absolutely insane to say the least. For one, it was very surprising when DLC was announced in February of 2022. By that time, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was almost half a decade old. Seeing DLC so late after the game released was surprising, but it's also Nintendo we're talking about. It's expected of Nintendo to do the unexpected. Now the DLC had a pretty nasty start, but as the waves went by, not only were the tracks getting better, but new features and even new characters were added as well. This video will not only be a review of Wave 6, but a send-off to Mario Kart 8. We'll also be determining how the DLC fared overall, and if it ended up being a worthy alternative to Mario Kart 9. For a final time, it's time to break out the Cloud to Superstar scale and determine if Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Wave 6 is the extravagant, decade-in-the-making grand finale to Mario Kart 8. The first cup is the Super Acorn Cup. Gotta say, I love the power-up variety the cups are represented by. Nice to see the Propeller Mushroom, Rock Mushroom, and the Super Acorn. With that being said, we have 4 new tracks to go over. Let's see if I'll go nuts for the tracks, or end up just going nuts. I think the latter has already happened. The first track is Rome Avanti from Mario Kart Tour. This is one of the final city tracks from that game, and it's actually my first time playing it here in 8 Deluxe. Considering the Mario Brothers are Italian, I'm surprised we haven't seen more inspiration from Italy in the games. Though to be fair, the Mario Brothers are more so Italian-Americans since they grew up in Brooklyn. So it makes more sense seeing New York-inspired locations in the games, considering that's where they grew up. The thing with the city tracks is they can often just blend together. Rome Avanti feels similar to tracks like Paris Promenade and London Loop. But at night, it's not a bad track, but it's nowhere close to being one of my favorite city tracks. The music is good, visually it looks great as well, and the track design's solid. The best city tracks are ones that do something different. Athens Dash had the ancient ruins. Also helps considering I'm Greek and I love seeing Greece represented. Vancouver Velocity has Aurora Borealis and the snowy theme. Even Los Angeles Laps, even considering it's not an accurate representation of Los Angeles considering there aren't homeless toads, it feels distinct with the summer theme going on. I'm glad Rome Avanti is here, but it's about as Italian as SpaghettiOs.
Yahoo!
The final track from Mario Kart Double Dash might not be Wario Coliseum. That was my most wanted track for the DLC, and it's such a missed opportunity not having it in Mario Kart 8. But the final one they went with is an absolute winner. DK Mountain is one of the most iconic tracks from Double Dash, and it's back and better than ever. Visually, it looks great, and it's accompanied by a stellar remix that makes it sound even more like something out of Donkey Kong Country. It even has the half pipes, which now, they're to be expected, but it's still cool finally seeing them in Mario Kart 8. An overall excellent track, and a certified Mario Kart classic. After the travesty that was Mario Strikers Battle League, it appears Nintendo feels obligated to apologize to Daisy. Not only with Daisy being playable in Super Mario Bros. Wonder, but we have Daisy Circuit returning from Mario Kart Wii. One of my favorite aspects of the track is the statue of Daisy and Luigi, which is the only official shipping that we've seen of the two from Nintendo. I think it would be awesome if Daisy and Luigi became official, though with less drama than Mario and Peach. I'm not a fan of Peach, but I am a fan of Daisy. Considering she has her own circuit, that's quite the honor. But how is the track itself? It's a memorable and well-designed track. Though to be fair, nearly every track from Mario Kart Wii is iconic. But honestly, that's pretty much the extent of it. Daisy's circuit doesn't have a theme that stands out much. Really, it's mainly known for the statue. Considering just how many city tracks there are, I'm not sure why they went with Daisy Circuit. I think Toad's Factory would have been way cooler, but it's still a good track. Although I will say, the rating couldn't be more fitting.
Yahoo!
Finally, to end off the Acorn Cup, we have Piranha Plant Cove, a track from Mario Kart Tour, which is one I'm also experiencing for the first time here. You guys remember how obsessed Nintendo was with Spike? From 2015 to 2018, they really loved this guy, and put him in almost everything. But starting with Piranha Plant in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, they've had quite the fascination with Piranha Plants. Piranha Plant Cove is a track that's mostly underwater. The coolest thing about the track is the theming. I like how it's almost like a lost city that's underwater, sort of like Atlantis, though this version doesn't contain blue meanies or awful musical numbers. But I will say, having it mostly underwater does take away a lot of the fast-paced racing. It feels a bit slow, and I feel the underwater segments could have been used more sparingly, rather than for the majority of the track. Still a really cool addition, though I think Piranha Plant Pipeline would have been the better choice.
Yahoo!
That covers it for the Acorn Cup. The thing that surprised me a bit is that the tracks aren't as good as I was expecting. DK Mountain is the shining star, but even with most of the tracks being about average, none of them have the visual pitfalls the tracks sometimes have. Even the best waves like Wave 3 had Rock Mountain looking a bit off visually, but that is not the case here. But before getting into the final Spiny Cup, Wave 6 included 4 new characters, and way more than I was expecting. Diddy Kong makes his long overdue Mario Kart 8 debut. He might be 9 years late to the party, but better late than never, I suppose. Diddy Kong even had Mario Kart Hot Wheels, so it'd be weird not to see him. Diddy Kong also had a weird absence during the Wii U era, along with Bowser Jr., but it's great to finally have him back, little buddy! The Mario Kart mascot himself, Funky Kong, makes his grand return to Mario Kart. He's a fan favorite, and shockingly returned in 2020's Jungle Tour and Mario Kart Tour. It wasn't out of the realm of possibility he would come to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but it's finally a reality, and I couldn't be happier. Funky Kong is my favorite Mario Kart character, and I'm sure Nintendo is aware he has a dedicated fan base. But most importantly, Pauline makes her Mario Kart 8 Deluxe debut. I was even more excited for Pauline than Funky Kong, for many reasons. She's my favorite Mario girl. She's a character that evolved from being the damsel in distress to a mayor of a major city. Combined with her love for music and excellent personality, you easily have the one-up girl. Mario should honestly ditch Peach and go for Pauline. Why bother chasing a girl who doesn't even care about you? Pauline actually does. Not only is she a great character in every aspect, but I can finally play as Pauline in a game I actually want to play. She was only in the Switch Mario sports games and Mario Kart Tour, but finally, she is playable in an amazing game. And guess what? She even has a biker outfit when she uses bikes or ATVs. I must say, I like my girls how I like my Pokemon Game Boy Advance games. Real. But Pauline makes me question that mindset, because if a girl looked like and had the personality of Pauline, now she is wife material. The selection of characters is pretty much exactly what I wanted. I can't get even that mad over the final choice being Peachette. In fact, I find it more funny than anything. I would have preferred Nabbit, especially over Peachette, or frankly Monty Mole, or literally any other character from Tour. Considering the Donkey Kong theme with the characters, it is disappointing they didn't go with Dixie Kong and Donkey Kong Jr., but Peachette is a character that's so stupid and such a poetic end to Mario Kart 8 that I can't help but just laugh. We started from the bottom with Pink Gold Peach, and we end at the bottom with Peachette. I do wonder though, EB, we know you love to hate Toadette, but does that also apply to Peachette? Because she's a clone of Toadette at the end of the day. If you just can't get enough Toadette for today, there's also a Toadette Me costume. But we're not just talking Toadette. There's a whopping 17 new Me costumes included as part of Wave 6. It was very surprising seeing Tour bring the Miis back. Hey Nintendo, Looks like those sports mates didn't really work out too well, did they? And with these new costumes, they are very clever and cool. A lot are based on Mario enemies that aren't playable, such as Goombas, Chain Chomps, Pokies, and even Dolphins. There's a ton of them here, and while some look silly, that's part of the fun. Who wouldn't want to dress up as a question block or a castle? I'm surprised that they were included, and so many of them at that. Considering the character selection and how most Mii costumes were added from Tour, I do wish Nintendo just went all out and added everything from Tour and 8 Deluxe, but solely based on what we got, I feel the choices outside of Peachette were what most fans would have wanted. And now, we've reached the finish line. The Spiny Cup. Now the blue shell can do one of two things. It can either help you win a race, or will completely ruin one. We're taking a bit of a gamble here. Which will it be? Like throwing a blue shell, or getting hit by one? The final city track from Mario Kart Tour is the final city track in 8 Deluxe as well, being Madrid Drive. I wasn't crazy about Rome Avanti, but Madrid Drive, despite yet again being another city track from Europe, is one of the most varied tracks. There are many different sections. You'll be driving through Madrid's town, driving through a mall, a museum, and even a soccer stadium. You'll also be dodging giant wigglers, and visually, it looks great. Even the museum has artwork from Mario Kart Tour. And the music! It's one of my favorite city track themes. I'd say it captures a city it's based on the absolute best. Sounds exactly like Spanish music. My favorite city track is always going to be Athens Dash, but Madrid Drive is a great track that's varied, and is a nice way to end the city saga. This is a criticism directed at Mario Kart Tour since this is where the city tracks originated from, but considering it's a world tour, I didn't know that the world only consisted of North America, Europe, Asia, and Australia. I feel a lot of what Madrid Drive did could have been applied to a Rio-themed track, especially with that soccer stadium, and the scenery would have been more unique, considering it's Brazil which is in South America. The lack of a Cairo, Egypt track is also disappointing, but as it stands, Madrid Drive is a great track, though perhaps maybe a little bit too long.
Hee, I got it!
Out of all the tracks included as part of Wave 6, Rosalina's Ice World is the most polarizing choice. I've seen many disappointed that it was included rather than another DS track like Luigi's Mansion or Airship Fortress, or another 7 track like Maka Woohoo. I would have loved to see the Woohoo Island tracks, but Rosalina's Ice World is still an excellent pick. Now, if they chose Cheep Lagoon, then I'd understand being disappointed, but Rosalina's Ice World is an excellent track that's way overhated. For one, it has a Super Mario Galaxy theme, and two, it does an excellent job combining the ice and underwater tracks. It's not the flashiest track, and others stand out much more, but it's designed well and has some excellent theming, so I definitely consider it to be a great track. But remember,
do not hold on to it! Do not hold on to it! You must obey my command! Only I can hold on to ice! All others who do must pay the price!
Hee, I got it!
when it comes to Super Mario Kart tracks, usually they'll always come up flat against the other tracks, which makes sense considering they couldn't even render 3D on the Super Nintendo. My problem with the Super Mario Kart tracks is that most are uninteresting and just blend together. The track design is also basic, with not much standing out. Mario Circuit 3 is easily the weakest track in the entire DLC, so with Bowser Castle 3 announced for the DLC, it's easy to see how some could disregard it as yet another lame Super Mario Kart track. But Bowser Castle 3 did what seemed to be the impossible. They made a Super Mario Kart track incredible. It's been redesigned to include anti-gravity, a ton of ramps, and some challenging turns. There are many paths you can take, and it gives the once two-dimensional track another dimension. It's one of the more challenging tracks in the game, which is a welcome addition, but not only does it adapt to become a modern Mario Kart track, but the presentation is outstanding. It's a different take on Bowser's Castle, where it takes place outside as well as inside the castle, and the skies are just as hot as the lava. This is a track that feels right at home with the original Mario Kart 8. Not only is it visually impressive, but it also retained the magic the original retro tracks had, incorporating anti-gravity and a ton of improvements. This is one of the best tracks in the DLC, not only because of everything I stated, but it did the impossible and made a Super Mario Kart track one worth getting hyped for, easily a superstar. Though I think this course is so fire, it deserves a red superstar. For the grand finale, we have Toadette Circuit from Mario Kart. Yeah, I'm just kidding. To end off Mario Kart 8, we're ending off with Mario Kart Wii's Rainbow Road. How fitting it's part of the Spiny Cup. We have 5 Rainbow Road tracks in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and Wii's Rainbow Road is the perfect finale. It's the most challenging Rainbow Road in the series, and it's also one of the most iconic tracks in Mario Kart history. When you say Rainbow Road, this is what many are going to think of. The presentation is absolutely gorgeous, and it's my favorite Rainbow Road from a presentation perspective. It also includes anti-gravity and some insane shortcuts. My favorite Rainbow Road is still Mario Kart 7's, but what a fitting way to end Mario Kart 8. And most satisfying of all, we're ending on a perfect note. And that is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Wave 6 reviewed. The Acorn Cup was pretty average, but the Spiny Cup was an excellent send-off. The tracks average out to be a Mario out of Superstar. I will say, my favorite wave is still Wave 3, but with the addition of Diddy Kong, especially Funky Kong and Pauline, all the Mii costumes, and even a music player, Wave 6 is easily one of the best waves, and a great way to end it off. Some track choices like Daisy Circuit were questionable, and I understand not everyone is crazy about the city tracks, but the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC didn't just serve as an expansion of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, it also served as preservation of Mario Kart Tour. The thing with Nintendo's mobile games is that they're tied to a server, meaning they always need to be online. Once those servers go down, it's game over. Just look at what happened to Dr. Mario World. But most of its content is in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, meaning that it's here to stay. Even when the Switch eShop goes down, it'll be preserved just like all the 3DS and Wii U eShop games. But considering this, I wish Nintendo just took the plunge and preserved everything. A ton of characters still didn't make the cut, not to mention all the fun costumes for characters. But they did go for the fan favorites, and Kamek finally became playable in Mario Kart. The addition of the Mii costumes was also a nice surprise, so they got the majority of it down. So then we come to the question, did the DLC make up for the lack of a proper Mario Kart 9? Considering how most of the waves have been great, the new features, and the addition of new characters, I can confidently say that the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC served as a good alternative to Mario Kart 9. It gave us additional content not just to hold us over, which made the wait much more bearable, but even on its own, it stands up incredibly well. I'm so glad Nintendo took the criticism of Wave 1 to heart and strived to make the succeeding waves of high quality. But why did they do this? My thought is that Mario Kart is Nintendo's signature game. Wave 1 was cheap, and if all waves were like that, it would make Mario Kart 8 Deluxe look really bad. It was embarrassing, and Nintendo decided to get it together and prevented future waves from being anywhere close to as bad. I will say, Wave 1 left a nasty first impression, and first impressions are everything. They stay with you. But considering how they proved they learned, I was actually excited for the DLC going forward, starting with Wave 3. Let this be a lesson to the fanboys and shills that criticism results in better products. So then we get into the question of, what's next for Mario Kart? At this point, I think it's safe to say Mario Kart 9 will most likely launch on Nintendo's next system. It would be an incredibly smart move to have it be a launch title. But what could it possibly do to top Mario Kart 8 Deluxe? I've seen the notion that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is peak Mario Kart, which it is considering it's the best in the series at the time, but I'm mainly referring to the notion
there's nothing Nintendo can do to top Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I wouldn't mind if they just ported it over and made Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Deluxe.
And I find that absolutely absurd. Despite how Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is essentially the ultimate Mario Kart, there's a lot Nintendo can do to make Mario Kart even better. A Diddy Kong Racing style story mode is still something Mario Kart needs. Having one in the next game will instantly give it an edge, as long as it's done well. Furthermore, it would be great to see the return of double karts and special items. Mario Kart Tour has special items for the characters, and for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, it wouldn't have been wise to include them, as it could change the game a bit too much. But for the next entry, it's fair game. We have gotten a ton of retro tracks, but have yet to see anything from the Mario Kart Arcade Grand Prix series. This is something I've wanted to see for well over a decade. The Mario Kart Arcade Grand Prix series has some amazing tracks unlike anything found in the mainline series. You have Diamond City from WarioWare. The Namco and Pac-Man themed tracks are also really cool. And the Rainbow Cup tracks like Rainbow Coaster and Downhill would look amazing in HD. That's just accounting for returning features. Nintendo is capable of introducing new mechanics and features most of us couldn't even think of. It's the same thing for 2D Mario. Once a series that remained stagnant, came back with Super Mario Bros. Wonder, one of the most inventive and creative Mario games, and 2D platformers in general ever made. Pikmin 4 also introduced Ochi, which isn't a concept most would think of, but having a cosmic dog companion brought in some excellent new features and quality of life improvements. Nintendo is always coming up with new ideas, and Mario Kart 9 will likely be no exception. They also don't need to go the Nintendo Kart route. The Mario series has so many characters, locations, and items that they could just take inspiration from the series for new tracks and items. I'd love to see any of the kingdoms from Super Mario Odyssey inspire new tracks, and they could use items like Double Cherries and Wonder Flowers for new items. Mario Kart Tour in many ways felt like the ultimate Mario Kart, but unfortunately suffered from being a mobile game. I love the direction they took with Tour, and I'm hoping it continues along with the addition of new modes, mechanics, and other elements to make Mario Kart 9 even better than Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Though if you're taking anything from Tour, leave the mobile stuff behind. Mario Kart 8 has been one of the most important and influential games of my life. It helped the channel become what it is, and it will always hold a special place in my heart, even with future installments. It's a bit hard to believe, but we have finally reached the finish line. We have reached the conclusion of the Mario Kart 8 saga. Seeing how much the game has evolved since 2014, and watching how the DLC managed to bring new life to the game, was a conclusion I initially didn't expect. But thankfully, the ending for Mario Kart on Switch turned out to be a sweet victory. We started off with Pink Gold Peach, and we're ending off with Pauline, a clear metaphor for just how far we have come. After completing the Spiny Cup, there are new end credits for the DLC. It's a homage to all the tracks in the game, and honestly, it's a little emotional seeing Mario Kart 8 come to an end. It's a game that means a lot to me. The years of fond memories playing it with friends, playing it with you guys during streams, from the day I first got it shortly before graduating middle school, to watching it reach its final destination nearly a year after graduating college. It's a game that's truly special. Mario Kart 8 is the game that helped bring you to the channel, and without it, it wouldn't be what it is today. Thank you to Mario Kart 8, and thank you to all of you guys. It has been a great ride, but now we have reached the finish line. So before the final send-off, I have one more thing to say. There are two kinds of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe fans, ones who were complacent and chilled for Wave 1 being garbage, and those who spoke up, wanted the same quality of the base game, but ended up getting the ultimate Mario Kart. Guess which ones have the happier lives? Ha! Enjoy your Toad Circuit as we party on Rainbow Road! Woo!